Sami Zayn has finally found his path to WrestleMania, and the rest of the WrestleMania card is shaping up. Plus, The Rock returns the Rock concert, and it did not disappoint. All this and so much more on the Wrasslin City Podcast. Welcome back to the Wrasslin City Podcast. As always, I'm Taylor,
And I'm Ryler.
and we are back with for another week of craziness. Well, not. I mean, this week it wasn't as crazy as most weeks, but still, there's a lot to cover. We'll be covering Raw and SmackDown from this week and everything that took place. So we're glad that you guys are joining us once again, and I'm ready to get into it. If you are, there's a lot to get into.
Yeah, I am.
So I guess we can start off with Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre kicks off Monday Night Raw this week, and he pretty much starts off taking more shots at CM Punk. He starts saying a few things, and the crowd starts chanting "What" after like everything he says, and he says something like "Say what if you're glad that I injured CM Punk," and just kind of playing with the crowd a little bit, and then he says that he's expecting a thank you note from CM Punk because he's been keeping him relevant ever since he got put on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, obviously still continuing his typical stuff. Like you said, this week is just a continuation of the previous weeks, just kind of building on, shaping that WrestleMania card even more. Uh, but yeah, Drew McIntyre once again continuing to call him out. And I like that even though Punk hasn't been on the show for this, for a fair amount of time at this point, by him calling him out, they're still building on to his match with Seth Rollins, but they're still continuing that Punk rivalry. So when he does return, they immediately have something to continue it with. Like when Punk returns, that's probably going to be his first pay-per-view match is going to be or PLE match is going to be against CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like that. They're planting seeds for it.
Yeah, I do too. It'll be interesting to see what CM Punk has to say
Yeah, I think isn't it it's next week, right, that he's supposed to return, or is it the week after?
for Wrestle. Wait,
Ah,
what?
isn't he supposed to return? Isn't it next week's Raw, or is it the week after?
It's not. So it's not this coming up Raw, but it's the one. It's March 25th. So today's the 16th. So yeah, it'd be next week's Raw is when he returns.
Okay, yeah. So next week, that's gonna be some must-see TV for sure. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to seeing what he has to say. He's
yeah,
gonna
me
drop a
too.
pipe bomb. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's probably gonna rip a new one through Drew McIntyre. That'll be
Yeah,
crazy to see.
it'll make for some good TV
But
for sure.
yeah, but Seth Rollins actually decided to come out, and him and Drew McIntyre just exchange a few words. Drew McIntyre just continues on with what he's been saying to Rollins, and that you don't need to be focusing on the bloodline. You need to be focusing on me. And pretty much, Seth Rollins told him that Drew McIntyre is the least of his worries, and that really pissed Drew off. And you know, he's Drew said that Rollins is trying to provoke him, and he's not going to do anything. He's going to wait until Mania to do everything that he wants to do. But just last week he claymored Seth Rollins, and now all of a sudden he wants to wait until Mania to get his hands on him again. I guess I don't
Yeah, I
know. Is
guess
that
he's
it?
just playing mind games with him. I mean, they're playing along the story right now of with Rollins with having these different storylines that he doesn't have his like mindset on Drew McIntyre, and that's gonna inevitably end up costing him his title. And once again, I like how they're setting that up, but
Mm-hmm.
I do think, yeah, that doesn't really make sense 100%. But heels don't always make sense, you know? So he's just, I think, just throwing him off. I guess this would be mind games and in storyline terms.
Yeah, I guess yeah, you are right. Heels sometimes don't make the most sense when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I mean, another great promo between these two. These two are clicking on all cylinders, and they're continuing to build that hype towards their match at WrestleMania, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, like I I kind of wonder if CM Punk might play a part in this match at Mania or something. Like, because I've seen a lot of speculation
Yeah.
on like social media that they think that he'll play a part in this match.
I don't think he's going to play a match at WrestleMania itself, or at least my prediction would be that he doesn't have any sort of involvement with that because it doesn't, I mean, he's a face. I don't know if it would really make sense for him to come out and do something or cost him the title or whatnot. Uh, but I mean, anything's possible at this point, especially now that he's intertwined in these two different, or Drew is in these two separate feuds. And it's with Rollins. Obviously, Rollins and Punk were having, they were building up, hinting at a rivalry before he got injured. So
Hmm.
something could happen. I wonder if they would do maybe something like, I don't know, maybe special guest referee or something like that. Some sort of stipulation where he's added in, but it wouldn't be a blatant interference. But yeah, my prediction would be they're just going to hold off until after WrestleMania and his timeline for return becomes more clear.
Yeah, because actually Rollins mentioned CM Punk during the promo too. He was saying that Drew McIntyre is a hypocrite and kind of reminds him of somebody that he knows, and he said that was CM Punk. So
Yeah, they're both throwing shots, but like I said, they're just planting seeds for when after he returns.
yeah, they are. But so that was pretty much it from that. So I guess we'll go on to what happened next, and it was a match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch actually wins this match, and she she beat Liv Morgan clean in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3. I was not expecting this. I was expecting a Nia Jax interference.
Yeah, I wonder I wonder what they're going to be doing because Liv Morgan came out last week. I mean, she hit like what one move and then got beat up, and then she comes out this week and loses clean. So I don't really know what their plans are when it comes to her. And yeah, like you said, I expected some sort of interference with Nia Jax or even Rhea Ripley, some reason. I wouldn't expect Liv Morgan to actually beat her, but I would expect some sort of screwy finish, something to happen that wouldn't make her pin her completely clean. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, she just flat out lost. So I guess they're building up WrestleMania. They're Becky Lynch looks stronger going into WrestleMania, but I don't know if Liv Morgan was the right person to sacrifice for that, especially since they had her involved last week. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, so Rhea Ripley would actually come down to the ring afterwards, and she kind of stops right before she gets to the ring, and Liv Morgan just kind of like stares her down, and she says something like, "I'm gonna take everything from you." So, and then she gets in the ring and she starts talking to Becky Lynch, and pretty much just says that Becky's having all of these matches because she's trying to like make herself look stronger, something along those lines. And then Becky Lynch said that she's doing this because she has a lot to prove to herself. And then she says that whoever if it's Becky against the world, Becky's always going to come out on top, something like that. But
Just some
that was
typical, yeah, not really anything, it's whatever, I guess. They're just building up to it. I'm not really excited for this match, if I'm being honest. I think it has the potential to be a really good match. I think wasn't it Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, I want to say it was last year.
yeah.
put on a fantastic match. Some people debate that to be the match of maybe not the night, but like match of the pay-per-view itself in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
So they can put on a good match, but the build is very just generic, I guess. That's the best way I can describe
Yeah.
it. It's not very
Yeah.
memorable.
Yeah. Like Rhea Ripley hasn't really been involved much. They're pretty much just focusing on Becky Lynch more than they are their champion. And like this is like the first time I believe since the that WrestleMania like kickoff, I believe, when we seen them, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we did and I just can't remember. But so after that, Becky would walk up to Liv backstage, and then they kind of just give each other a handshake, and then Nia Jax would come out of nowhere and just beat both of them up pretty much, and then that would set up Becky Lynch and Nia Jax match for this week's Raw, but this time it is a last woman standing match. So I
That
don't
should
know.
be an okay match. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I figure with Nia and what so it's Nia Jax and Becky Lynch.
Hmm.
I figure obviously Becky is going to win this match, and this is just a way to further her, like I said, her strong booking. She's looking good going into WrestleMania. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's a weekly show, so it's nice to at least see matches that they're now hyping up matches a week in advance, and I do like
Hmm.
that. Like we are ready, we're not even like a week. Well, next so this is next week's WrestleMania or Raw, so we have that last woman standing match. Even the week after with the Punk, we already have some stuff to look forward to on the card. So I do like that part, but I mean, we all know Becky Lynch is going to win, and things are going to continue as usual after.
Yeah. Excuse my dog if you can hear her in the background. I think she sees another dog on the TV and she's just losing her mind now. So
Oh,
sorry
you're all
about
good.
that.
It's not interfering that much. Yeah.
Uh so yeah, I was trying to pay attention to you while you were talking, but I had a dog in the background just barking. But yeah, I guess we can just go on to what happened I guess next, and
Mhm.
I'll let you bring this up because we were actually talking during this, and
So
yeesh.
it was Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. They were facing Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile, and it's not really anything that's very notable except for the finish. So Maxine obviously has had all this stuff recently. This people have been booing her, and for some reason people think like booing somebody is like bad or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
But basically they're trying to incorporate this into her storyline, and it was Candice LeRae that turned heel on her and basically cornered her in the ring and was like, what this is like you think they're talking bad about you on online, like on social media. How do you think we all talk about you in the back, basically calling her terrible and whatnot? And it like I guess this would have made more sense or would have been fair enough for like some sort of backstage promo, but in the ring, it was just her acting is so bad, and
Yeah.
it was just in the middle of the ring. It felt so like forced. It didn't feel natural at all. Or she started like I guess it was crying, but it was not good. They got
Yeah,
attacked.
no.
I think it was like a big boot or something, and they ended up losing the match because of it. But oh geez, Maxine Dupree, she has got to improve for sure. I think that her obviously she hasn't been in on the main roster for a long time, so there's always room for improvement for this. But yeah, we were watching this and I was like, oh, this is so bad.
Yeah, it
So
was, and yeah, I think Candice LeRae she mentioned something. because I think just here recently, Maxine Dupree, I think her brother like passed away, and then Candice LeRae
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
mentioned that, and that's when Maxine was like, "All right, I'm done," and try to like walk off, and then yeah, took a boot right to the face and would get pinned. But yeah, that was a tough watch. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
I hope
Maxine,
that
she's definitely got a lot to improve on, but
yeah.
yeah,
And I have a feeling she'll get better, but I wanted to mention that. That was not a bright spot for the night.
yeah, not at all. But a bright spot that did happen was a announcement made by the Raw and SmackDown general managers Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis. So a lot of speculation before the show started that when they saw that these two were having an announcement, a lot of people thought they were going to split the tag team titles, but no, that is not the case. They announced a six-pack ladder match for the tag team titles at WrestleMania. So Judgment Day will be defending their titles in a ladder match against five other teams, and they'll have some like qualifying matches over the next few weeks to determine those participants. And they actually had two that took place on SmackDown that we'll get into later. But yeah, we're getting a ladder match this year.
Yeah, at first, I mean, obviously before this gauntlet match, so like last week before the announcement was made, we thought that the Intercontinental Championship might be defended in a six-person ladder match. That obviously did not end up happening. But I'm glad that we're at least getting a ladder match. Usually we get one most years. There have probably been a few that we haven't. Like I don't know if we did last year, but we get them.
No, yeah, we didn't get one last year.
Okay, well, most WrestleManias, we get some sort of ladder match. So seeing that they've at least added this, it should be good. I mean, it's shades of, what was it, WrestleMania 33, where the
Hmm.
Bar was defending their titles and the Hardys came back and won the match. Yeah, I expect it to be a really good match. It just depends on who they put in it, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you put the right teams in this match, it has potential to be one of the best matches, if not the best, of that weekend. So
Yeah, yep.
another match that I'm looking, man, this WrestleMania card is
Shaping
heating
up to be
up.
good. Yep.
Yeah, it is on paper at least. Man, I mean, it looks like it's going to be an all timer from just on paper at least. But
Yeah, I hope so, man.
yeah, so after that, Cody Rhodes has a sit down interview with Michael Cole. And so it starts off, Michael Cole brings it up, out of all the people that Cody Rhodes could pick as his tag team partner, he picks Seth Rollins. And then Michael Cole brings up that match that Seth Rollins had at Royal Rumble 2022, where, Rollins won that match, but it was by disqualification. And he just mentioned that, Seth Rollins never got a rematch after that. And then here's Cody, he lost to, he got screwed last year in the main event, and now he's getting his rematch. And just kind of playing along with that, can he really trust Seth Rollins, I guess? And so,
Yeah,
and
I
then,
mean, not much. It's whatever. I guess it was it seems like a lot of the segments this week say a whole lot, like what am I trying to say? Saying a whole lot, but not really saying much, if that makes sense. Uh I mean, it was a typical Cody promo. He ended up this was the one where he ended up crying again. And basically typical, he's the underdog. He needs to finish the story. I didn't watch this entire segment, or we did. We were watching during it, but I wasn't paying as much attention. Probably something about Dusty Rhodes, and
mhm, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
so
he mentioned that he pretty much mentioned that he won't be able to, hand the title to Dusty Rhodes, and then he said that but he can hand it to his mom, Michelle Rubio, and then that's when he kind of like just started crying, and the fans just started chanting Dusty. And then he mentioned that he can hand it to his wife, Brandy Rhodes. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, not much to it. Just, I guess, further in their match.
Yeah. So I guess after that, we I guess we can just get right to the gauntlet match, the main event for Monday Night Raw, and so Ricochet and JD McDonough start out the match. Ricochet eliminates JD, and before we get further into this, I just want to say something. Ricochet, man, he is, in my opinion, he's extremely underrated, like especially in the ring. I feel like he doesn't get talked about as much. I mean, obviously, he could improve on some character things, but when it comes to like in ring, he's up there, man. He's insane.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, he's a good, not placeholder, but like he's a good, if there's an already solid match, he's that one person that you can guarantee is going to make the quality of the match even better. Like you said, his strengths are for sure in his ring skills. He just isn't very good on the mic. I don't think he has that good of a character. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, I mean when he came out in this match, he's always put as like the supplement, like extra one on like Money in the Bank matches, or he always does those crazy spots, like him and Logan Paul doing that like crossbody springboard thing to each other at the Rumble. Uh
Yeah.
that was
Hmm.
last year, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
either
2023.
yeah, okay. Well, yeah, he's so him as an addition to this match starting out, that makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So Ricochet eliminated JD McDonough, and then Bronson Reed would come out next, and he would eliminate Ricochet. And then Sami Zayn comes out, and he would go on to eliminate Bronson Reed. And then out comes Nakamura. And then Bronson Reed, before Nakamura gets in the ring, Bronson Reed takes out Sami Zayn, pretty much just giving Nakamura an easy path to to the gauntlet, through the gauntlet. But no, Sami Zayn would actually get back into it, and he would eliminate Nakamura, and then that left us with Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. And we said last week that who we wanted to win this match. I said Chad Gable. You said Sami Zayn, and your guy won this match.
Yeah, it was well, first of all, it was a really good match. The
Yes, it was.
finals between those two could have been a whole separate match itself on Raw. Uh, so when Gable came out, he didn't just immediately attack him. Sami Zayn was already beat up. He was hurt from facing the two previous people. And Gable basically let him stand up and get to his side of the ring. And then they fairly decided, started it off. So he let him prepare a little bit. Uh, the match itself was really good. So he hit the ankle lock a few times. He kept on holding him in it. And I was thinking, like, as you're a wrestling fan, or as you become more of a wrestling fan, learn all those booking like things they go with. I was like, with Sami Zayn's booking, they're not gonna make him just tap, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So he was put into this, but even with how often he hit it, I think like three times, and then he did
Yeah,
the Kurt Angle, like he kicks out of it and he rolls around and still keeps the ankle lock in. So I was like,
yeah.
are they really gonna somehow make Sami Zayn like tap to lose this match?
I
Uh
really thought they were.
yeah, Zayn got some offense in. I think he hit a blue thunder bomb. I remember him he hit a haluva kick if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And
Yes, yeah.
then Chad Gable kicked out because he like took too long to pin him. And then
Hmm.
he had him in an ankle lock, and then Sami Zayn counted it by rolling him up, and he got the three count. So there was some controversy because first of all, it didn't look like his shoulders were completely down, which I don't know, maybe. I don't think they were intentionally setting that with their like I don't think they intentionally planned that. I think his shoulders just he just messed up a little bit. So I don't think that's gonna fall into the future plans. But Yeah, I'm happy for Sami Zayn. I know I'm in the minority, which is odd because a year ago everybody
Yeah.
was wanting Sami Zayn to beat Roman Reigns possibly, and now we're
Hmm.
like, oh, Sami Zayn shouldn't have beaten Chad Gable. And so I love Chad Gable. I'm not like at all I loved American Alpha. I loved Alpha Academy. So I'm glad that he got his chance, but with how the storyline has gone with him and Gunther, well, first he won that match by countout, right? And then he lost the follow-up match, and then he lost the finale between them. So I just I would have been fine with him having this match, but I really just don't get why people are just now all of a sudden turning on Sammy because of this. Apparently, with reports too, Booker T had his podcast, and he was saying on this podcast that apparently Sami Zayn was really upset about this once he heard about the social
Yeah.
media reaction to this. And
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I've always been a fan of Sami Zayn, so I will support him through thick and thin. I really think he deserves to be where he's at. And I would rather see Gunther and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I know that's a matter of opinion for a lot of people, but we've seen Gunther and Chad Gable, and he's lost twice. So I just think that
I mean,
Sami
yeah,
Zayn and him is a more fresh match.
but then again, we haven't seen Chad Gable hold a singles title like at all. And
Yeah.
me and
Mhm.
a bunch of other fans out there, like that's what they want to see. Like we've already seen Sammy hold the Intercontinental Championship. Now, like I mean, and I'm not hating on Sami Zayn. I love
Yeah,
Sami Zayn
yeah.
just as much as I love Gable, but man, like I said on Twitter following the match, like I love Sammy, but Gable should have won this match. Gable needs a singles title, and I really felt like this was the year for him to get it, but obviously not. So,
And one thing people do have to remember is that it's not necessarily the end for this. We've seen now
no.
since Gable lost those two matches, was that earlier this year or maybe late last year?
Yeah,
Uh,
late last year, yeah.
late last year. And he wasn't really having much momentum after he lost these matches because he lost two matches clean. And but with this, these past 2 weeks, they built him up and that momentum already got back. So there is obviously a dedicated fan base behind him. So this doesn't have to be like the final, end all be all for him. They can, in a few months, let's say, now, is is Sami Zayn gonna win? That's a whole different story. But regardless of who
I
wins
don't know,
after,
dude.
I think that they could just as easily slide Chad Gable into like the backlash or whatever pay-per-view follows this after Extreme Rules or whatever the case may be. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for this. And I guess maybe just being a fan of Sami Zayn, I'm happy for him, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm happy for Sami Zayn too. I think his match will with Gunther, I think it has potential to be a really good match. But yeah, man, I'm a Chad Gable guy, so I just
Tough
wanted to
booking
see him.
decision, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely was. But actually, next week or this week on Raw, Sami Zayn and Gunther are going to have their contract signing for the match at WrestleMania. So definitely have to watch that and see what they do there.
Yeah, they're gonna have to find some way to maneuver around this. Man, I just don't know with how the fans reacted on Monday. I really hope they don't give him some negative reaction on Raw,
Ooh,
because,
yeah.
like you said, regardless of like who you wanted to win, it's Sami Zayn. He's just worked so hard. He has always been this consistent person on the main roster for what, 8 years at this point. Uh, and he doesn't deserve that. I think that
No, he doesn't, but
they're gonna have to book this. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know what he's gonna say to change that tide, but we're at the point where it could go either way. Like the fans could turn on him, or he can somehow overcome that with how this promo or segment is set up, and the fans get
Hmm.
back on his side. But yeah, this is really going to determine how WrestleMania goes, I think. But I'm always
Yeah,
rooting for him.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what kind of reception he gets Monday night.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I expect some boos, but I just hope not everybody in there is just turned on him and everything. But we'll see.
Yeah.
So that does it for Monday Night Raw. So we can get into SmackDown now, and The Rock. He kicks off the show and he brings back the Hollywood Rock theme song that he used back in 2000, like 2002, 2003, I
Yeah.
think.
Hmm.
Man, I'm so glad that they decided to bring that back.
So they did, well, they did do a transition for it. It wasn't like a
Hmm.
complete, Hollywood rock songs like setup. It didn't have the flying in helicopter city intro type thing.
I
But
really wish they would have added that, man.
but
Hopefully they can,
the
but
lightning bolt stuff is cool too. And I think
yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
it was a nice transition, although it was a bit when it transitioned, it kind of didn't really, it just went from the new one to the older one. Like it had a pause and then it went straight into it. Um,
No, and I mean not really, because I think they did like some drums or some kind of like guitar riff or something like that
okay,
to
maybe
get
I heard
him
it at
to
work, so
transition
maybe I
to it.
just didn't hear that as as well, the background noise or whatnot. But it's still cool.
Hmm.
I loved his Hollywood Rock theme, so I nice little shout out, nice throwback to see his theme again.
Hmm. Yeah. So he kicks off with the rock concert. He brings the rock concert back, and he starts off with Cody Rhodes. He says, I'm gonna try to do my best impersonation of the concert, but he says Dusty's youngest son was just what he feared. He tried to raise him, but he turned out too weird. And then he shows a picture of Stardust on the
Yeah.
jumbotron, and then he says that's when Dusty said with total frustration that drugs and cheap condoms was a bad combination. And then he goes on to say, I know it keeps Cody awake to know he wasn't planned and he was a mistake. So he's going back to what he said last week, saying that Cody Rhodes was a mistake.
Yeah, just his I mean, yeah, he covered a lot during this, or it was one of his typical concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some serious he was roasting Seth and Cody the entire time.
Yeah. Then he turns his attention to Seth Rollins, and then he says, cackling and dancing is all that you do. No wonder why your wife's more popular than you. You're so damn desperate to make them all cheer, but The Rock is going to make that title disappear. You're simply an embarrassment, son, just like John McGrant when he's waving a gun.
Yeah.
Obviously, he mentioned John McGrant because they were in Memphis last night. So, and John McGrant plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think he still does. But yeah,
Yeah, that was one of the things I saw on social media about that.
uh,
And oh.
yeah. So then he turns his attention to all the Cody crybabies, and then he says, "You're all so entitled, obnoxious, and brash. Some of you have sex, but you have to pay cash. Your hero is going to bleed and need some stitches. So whine about that, you crybaby bitches. There's some line you just don't cross. You all can kiss the ass of the final boss."
S- Yeah, him. So now that he's saying that so first, just a quick little side note, he did have another Instagram miniature promo type thing, and he
Hmm.
mentioned in this side promo, it was just basically the same thing as the week before. He was working out real tense, doing his rock stuff. But he mentioned the whole final boss line. He re-mentioned it again on SmackDown during this segment, and it's so weird. They're like planning. I like how they're planting these seeds for the tension between him and Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns
Hmm.
basically has been known as the final boss. You know, he's the undisputed champion for however many days. I mean, you know, Universal Champion. And
Yeah.
he's always been known as that. So now Rock is coming in and he's just like taking over, mentioning himself as the final boss. So I wonder if Roman Reigns is going to have some response to that after WrestleMania once this finalizes. Because yeah, now he's calling himself the, you know, the well, first he started out with saying he was the head of the table, and then now he's saying he's the final boss. Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna have to respond at one point.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to add more to the power struggle that Reigns and Rock could get into here soon. But yeah, he mentions that he's the final boss, and yeah, like you said, I can't wait to see how Reigns responds to that because I know Reigns and Cody are going to go face to face next week, and I really hope that it's just them two because we haven't seen a one-on-one segment between Cody and Reigns yet, and right now it feels like this feud is, it's more about Cody and Rock than it is Cody and Roman.
Hmm.
But I mean, obviously, they're the bloodline. So, but yeah, you mentioned the little video that he posted on his social media on like Instagram and Twitter right before the show, and pretty much his promo after the concert was just a copy and paste from the little video that he posted. He mentions that how Cody Rhodes talks about the slap and he shows it on the jumbotron, and then he says like, yeah, so like how is Cody going to respond? Everybody wanted to know how he was going to respond to the slap when he slapped the Rock right across the face. And then he brings up when Cody started crying Monday night in his promo, and then he just goes, "Are you effing kidding me?
A
You
lot of
slapped the Rock
F-bombs
and
in
you
this
start, yeah,
this little promo.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, are you effing kidding me? You slap the Rock and you start effing crying, talking about you want to give the title to your dad and to your mama. I want to give the title to my mama. And then he pretty much says that he hasn't given anything to anybody. And then he says that he wants to talk directly to Cody Rhodes' mom, and he says that the only title that Cody's going to be Cody will be given to his mom is he he pulls out a weight belt. It's got like the Brahma Bull logo on it, and it says blood, sweat, and respect. And then he mentions how the blood part is going to be Cody's blood, and then yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna beat him up, and basically, yeah,
yeah.
the only title she's gonna get is that belt, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, and then he says that Cody's mom will only thing she'll have to say is something like "You're welcome," or I think he said that he'll be telling Cody's mom "You're welcome for doing that to your son" or something like that. But he's bringing Cody's family into this once again.
Yeah,
So
I mean they've been making it personal. It's just
yeah,
Cody needs to, yeah, definitely have more of a response than just his crying and finish the story. I hope that he gets more. I mean he did finally get the slap. You know, he got his revenge, I guess, according to this. But yeah, I think that they need to book him to be more even because The Rock is just he's just tearing away at him verbally.
yeah,
Cody's
yeah.
not doing
Him
very
and Seth
much.
both.
The Rock just whoops on him verbally, and then Cody Rhodes is
Hmm.
just finished the story. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't know.
hoping like at least on Raw, he can say something, or maybe he'll just wait until next week on SmackDown
Well, now that they got
when he
this
has
face
that
to
face to face
face,
with.
this
Yeah,
is his chance for sure.
yeah. I hope because they really need to book him stronger going into this match for sure.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they will. They have a few more weeks, but yeah.
Hmm. So after that, we mentioned earlier in the show that there was a tag team ladder match that will take place at WrestleMania for the undisputed tag team championships, and we had some qualifying matches that happened on SmackDown to determine some of those participants. And well, so Legado del Fantasma defeated LWO, and I guess I'll just go and say it now. And then later on in the night, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, New Catch Republic they beat Pretty Deadly. So I think next week on SmackDown, Legado del Fantasma and New Catch Republic will have a match, and then the winner of that will be added to the ladder match at WrestleMania. So just a few qualifying matches. I think on Raw we have the New Day and I think Alpha Academy. It's Otis and Akira Tozawa, and
Oh.
I can't remember who else. I think DIY
I was about to
and
say DIY is obviously a no-brainer for this match.
yeah, if I had to guess who the teams are going to be at be Judgment Day, and I like to see New Catch Republic. I like to
Mhm.
see New Day, DIY, and how many is that? That's four. And Awesome Truth, The Miz and R-Truth. That's six.
Biz and
Yeah,
our
that's
truth. Well, that's five right there, right?
well, yeah. Well, you get well. Is that with Judgment Day?
Yeah, well, I
Judgment Day, New Day, DIY, Miz and R-Truth, and New Catch Republic. Oh, that is.
yeah. I would
I don't know.
also the last one, the Creed brothers.
Creed
I think
Brothers,
that would
yeah.
make sense to add them too. But I
I
also
think
just
they're.
I can't
I'm
think
not
of
sure if
any
they're.
other tag
Yeah,
teams. So
I also can't remember who's all having these because they're doing like multiple brackets. I know last night they called it like bracket one or
mhm.
something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, at least they're shaping up. Yeah, we LWO losing. I don't really care much about either team, honestly, so it's not the end of the
Yeah.
world for me. But New Catch Republic should definitely have won, so I'm glad they did end up beating them. Pretty deadly. I don't feel like they're catching on really. I just
No,
can't
I.
really see them as much more of a like than like Breezango 2.0 is kind of what it reminds
Hmm.
me of. So maybe that'll change in the future. I mean, they're both pretty young, if I'm not mistaken, so that can change down the line. But as of how things are going right now, I think those are two solid picks for it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So after that, Randy Orton had a match against Grayson Waller, and he defeated Grayson Waller. And then after the match, Austin Theory and Logan Paul attempted to attack Orton, but Owens ran down to intervene. So after that, SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis would interrupt to stop all the action that was taking place, and he announced that Logan Paul will be defending his United States Championship in a triple threat match against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that's
This was
awesome.
by
Yeah.
far the right choice for that because obviously
Yeah.
after what happened at the Royal Rumble between Owens and Paul, I would hope that they would continue with that, and they did. And then you get Randy Orton added into it after what happened at the Elimination Chamber. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
another.
I mean, I couldn't see like we were talking about this the previous weeks about how we it didn't really make sense if they were to just drop Owens, like because they had
Hmm.
that screwy finish at the Rumble, and they still had an interaction at the Chamber when he was banging his head against it like a rabid dog. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Uh, so it makes sense for them to have this triple threat. And we have a lot of matches on the card where we've been like, oh, could this be a triple threat? Could this be a triple threat? So now that it's shaping up in a lot more of them, we're like, okay, this is turns out this is just going to be a singles match. I think this one will be a nice addition to the card. I think this was good. I think if there's any match that's going to be a triple threat, it would make sense for it to be this one.
Hmm. Yeah, and Austin Theory had another pretty impressive sale of the stunner and RKO. He hits so Owens hits Austin Theory with the stunner, and then he kind of just like he gets stunned, and then he like jumps into the RKO.
Yeah, so it looked a little weird. I do think that
Yeah.
they messed up on it because, well, Theory
Hmm.
messed up on it because he got stunned, and I think it was supposed to be like he's stunned, and then when he went down, he immediately jumped up and springboard into that RKO. But instead, it kind of went he got stunnered, and then he stood up regular, and then jumped. So it
Hmm.
looked a little not fluent, but
Yeah.
still, it was funny, I guess.
Yeah.
Theory and Waller are just punching bags, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean it was a nice little addition, I guess. They were at least on the same page. Orton and Owens.
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess we can get into the main event of the show. It was Bailey defeated Dakota Kai, but via disqualification. So kind of towards the tail end of this match, Bailey was in control, and the rest of Damage Control just kind of got tired of seeing what they saw. So Io Sky just decided to do run in and attack Bailey, and then the rest of Damage Control would hop in and join in on the attack. But then Naomi tried to help Bailey, but it quite didn't work out, and Damage Control would stand tall to close out the show.
Yeah, so well, a few thoughts about this. So first, Naomi came out, a lot of people were excited. Okay, so I'm gonna not comment on this as much because I don't like Naomi, but I know a lot of people do. I saw a lot of people
Hmm.
on Twitter that were very excited that she finally, not finally, but she got this chance. She's at least involved in the main women's title picture. So good for her. And then so I thought that when so Damage Control ended up beating them up, whatnot, they stood tall. I think that the issue with Io Sky is she's been the women's champion for what since Money in the Bank, right? Or
No, SummerSlam.
since SummerSlam, yeah, yeah. So she's been champion now for like 7 months.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they haven't really done much with her. It's kind of, she hasn't really had a segment like this as much where she just stood tall. She got the chance to close out the show. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, Naomi returning, beating them up, or trying to help and then getting beaten up. I guess that just plays into the number games storyline. But I did think that was a little weird. When somebody returns, usually that's like, oh, to even out the odds, and then they throw them out and then they stand tall because it's a return, or not her return, but her
Hmm.
it's a new development, so they usually stand tall. So I thought that was an interesting decision, but I'm glad to see Damage Control at least be able to. Io Sky was booked strong during this night.
Yeah, a lot of fans were wanting Bianca Belair to come out and kind of like make the save as well, but Bianca Belair isn't really too fond on Bailey just yet. I know she mentioned last week that Bailey kind of deserves all of this because after what Damage Control when Bailey was with them, what they put Bianca Belair through. So a little interesting storyline that they got going there.
I'm glad now, one thing I've noticed with since Triple H has taken over, I'm glad that they have made it where the heel to face transition, it's the friendship, allies, and enemies like cycle doesn't completely because what we've seen in the past is when a heel goes to babyface, all the people that he feuded with are just like, oh, okay, he's cool. And then they just team up
Hmm.
with him. They just completely ignore their past. But with all the stuff they've done, like they did it with when Jey Uso,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
turned
I was
face,
about to
they
say
were all
that.
like,
Hmm.
I'm not trusting you because all the stuff you did in the bloodline, like why should I, be your friend now? And they're doing the same thing now with Bailey. And
Hmm.
I think it's nice. It's some nice continuation, some continuity to these storylines. Yeah.
Yeah, you just mentioned Jey Uso, and we forgot to mention on Raw that he challenged Jimmy Uso to a match at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Jimmy Uso actually accepted the match last night on SmackDown. So that's what, three matches pretty much confirmed this week for WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah, we're shaking
Another.
up the card for sure. And we all knew that this match was basically, I mean, it wasn't confirmed technically, but
Hmm.
we all knew it was happening. So they just made it official now. So we will see Jimmy versus Jey Uso at WrestleMania. Yeah, it's looking like a solid card.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of match. I feel like you might want to add a stipulation to it or something, or something like that. Maybe like a
Mhm.
I could see like a no holds barred between them two, or maybe like a street fight or something like that. I definitely think that that's the route they should go for this one.
So I don't know about no holds barred because according to these storylines, the main event is going to be the Bloodline Rules match. I mean, it's not confirmed, but it's going to happen. So, isn't that essentially just a no holds barred, like anything goes? Bloodline is allowed in. So
Yeah,
maybe
maybe
that
you
would
could
be
do like a, or maybe like a no DQ or just something like
some
that.
sort
Just
of. I
something where.
definitely agree there should be a stipulation. Now, what
Hmm.
stipulation? I'm not 100% sure, but. Dude, they could do just about anything, honestly. They could do a steel cage if they book it right. I would say Hell in a Cell, but I feel like that would be kind of overbooking the card. I mean, there's a ladder match and the Bloodline rules, so that with a Hell in a Cell would maybe be overkill. Maybe they could hold that out until
I think an I Quit match
Clash
would
or
be kind of
something.
interesting between these two.
You said what?
I think an I Quit match would probably be interesting between these two.
Yeah, yeah, they have a lot of they just
You could do that, or like a last man standing or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that especially since they've been obviously this goes deeper than wrestling. They're actually related. So they've had this, there's a storyline with this already made into this. So
Hmm.
they definitely are going to have they could have just about any match because usually for I Quit, for Hell in a Cell, for all those, you would reserve those for the sequence, the follow-up match. But they've been building up to this for a while now. So they could do just about anything. I really wonder how they're going to go beyond this for that booking, for sure.
Yeah, and I, it'll be interesting to see what they have the over under for all the super kicks. I'm sure that they'll do during this match. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure some betting website out there will have some odds on like how many super kicks do you think will take place
Yeah,
during this match.
I imagine.
But yeah, finally, we actually got a confirmation about this match. A lot of fans thought, obviously we were going to get this match after what happened last summer, and it's finally official. Do you think Rikishi could be like a special guest referee? Because
I
I
think
because I
that would
know
make
they've said that.
sense. And
Because
Rikishi
I
tweeted
know,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, Jimmy's. I think Jimmy and Jay both said that if when they do that match that they want Rikishi to be the special guest referee, which makes sense because he's
Yeah,
their dad. So,
I was about to say he's the father of them. Yeah, yeah.
hmm.
I mean, that would make sense, and that would be a nice little way to, like you said, I don't, like I was saying, I don't know if like I think extreme rules or no DQ would be too similar to the main event. That's going to be like, same bloodline story.
Bloodline,
But
yeah.
a special guest referee would be a nice way to make it different from a singles one-on-one normal match, but make it different than a no DQ,
Hmm.
no holds barred or something. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. And with Rikishi already teasing it on Twitter that he knows about this. He was teasing that basically acknowledging this storyline that was going on. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, I could too. It'll be interesting to see how they do this. I really hope that they have Rikishi. involved in this match and the storyline, it could definitely work. But
Yeah, I hope to.
so like that, yeah, that pretty much does it for this episode. Where you got like we got 21 days left until WrestleMania. Just time's
Already.
ticking away. Yeah, I know it,
Yeah,
dude.
man. You're gonna
I
be
cannot.
down here, or I guess up here at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna be able to watch it. It's gonna be good. I already have
Hmm.
off my days for that Mania, and we will be able to watch it. It should be a really
Yeah.
good card.
Hmm. Before we wrap things up, if you haven't already, check out our last episode. We did a little tier ranking for WrestleMania main events from WrestleMania 16 to WrestleMania 39. So go check that out. It is WrestleMania season, so we thought that'd be a good time to do a tier ranking for that. And yeah, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Why wouldn't you be? Come join the greatest city in the world, Wrasslin City. Make sure you like this video and make sure you share it. Be a friend, tell a friend. We're trying to build something special here at Wrasslin City, and all the love would be appreciated. So, anything else you want to add or say?
Nope, we covered just about all of it.
Yeah, that is true. So we will see you guys soon. We plan on doing some more like tier rankings and stuff like that throughout the week. But yeah, well, I guess we'll see you guys next time in Wrestling City.